So the strength lever is the one that's going to give you the more power, the more.
That would be the speed lever.
That would be the speed lever.
Because you have a short fulcrum point.
Short fulcrum point from
You
this
need
side.
to put a lot of strength into it, which adds greatest velocity to the opposite end.
Okay.
Like a good example of a speed lever also, when you're not looking at a stick, is a bicycle with a small gear, right? Very little gear, right? Can you start off driving a bicycle in the smallest gear possible on the back?
It would be very hard.
Very hard. It takes a lot of power, but it's going to get moving very quickly.
Less torque.
The bigger the gear, the bigger the gear. The more torque you have, the less speed you have, right? So you can start very easily. You don't need to put as much energy into it, but you just can't get enough speed.
Right.
You're going to be going very slowly. So if you have a large lever from here to here, from the fulcrum point to here, we can say, let's say we have a hippopotamus sitting on this end, right? And let's imagine that this end goes all the way out there. And then from this point, the hippopotamus is sitting there, and this end is strong enough to withhold this kind of pressures, or this object is strong enough to withhold those kind of pressures. And a butterfly or a hummingbird sits on the very end of the stick, picking up this giant hippopotamus. That's the strength lever, where you don't need much power to move a heavy object.
Okay.
By the virtue of having a longer lever with the shortest fulcrum point. Okay. A fulcrum point right in the middle creates a teeter-totter. It's an equal lever. If we place it right directly in the center, it's not going anywhere. The weights are equal. In order to have this lever work, you have to have either an overweighing motion, or you need two strengths to get it moving, going in opposite directions. So you have one strength going this way, the other strength going that way, around a pivot point, or a fulcrum, right? And then you have the speed lever, which is a short fulcrum point. You're putting a lot of effort into a very short lever, thus making that end move at very high velocity. Due to centrifugal strength, you have all of this mass moving out to the outer circle of the centrifugal motion. In other words, the circle. As you have the circle, most of the mass goes to the very end, and as velocities increase. As velocities increase beyond control, then the stick or whatever object you're holding will rip out and fly and fly and fly and fly until gravity takes over and it'll fall back down to earth, right? So if you have something heavy and you start spinning it over your head at some point, it'll rip out and fly out. It becomes too heavy to hold, right? But for impact, as let's say a sword, which is, you want the very end to hit whatever you're hitting, right? So in this case, you're trying to gain as much velocity, which puts all the mass right here, basically to hit your opponent.
Right.
Also, in the same light, you can use that, like let's say if I'm using an arm, right, in this manner, basically throw them off. So as you're sitting there, please sit up a bit. As you're sitting there, and I have your arm here, right?
Right.
And I go,
Right.
the centrifugal mass became too strong for you to hold, and all it was your own arm.
Right.
So in essence, you could not hold your own arm in place, right? A strength lever, in the same case, would be, well, first you need to make it into a lever. How do you make it into a lever? You twist it and lock the joints by this twisting motion. So now we have a strength lever. The whole point of pivot is right here. I'm holding it right by the point of pivot. I'm not letting it go. What happens if I let go? And then I go ahead and try to use this lever.
Okay.
It's not a lever. It doesn't have a pivot point. The pivot point is floating. So,
Yes, a few.
so if I were to take, let's imagine that this is a transmission right here, right? And let's imagine that this is the stick shift to change the gears, right?
Right.
Let's say we go ahead and, let's say we go ahead and unbolt the transmission. Now it's just hanging in midair, and hypothetically I'm holding it, right? What happens when I try and put it into gear? Why isn't it going into gear?
Well, it's not.
There's no pivot point.
Right.
It's not
Oh,
holding.
right. There's no.
See, the base is floating.
Right. That's
I
the stick shift
can't-
you're saying, yeah.
I can't get enough of a fulcrum point to be able to, stationary fulcrum point to be able to put it in. Now, if I hold it here and go, whoop, now it went in, right? But in this case, I just picked it up. I'm holding it by the stick. I want to put it into gear. The whole transmission is going to be moving, and I'm not going to be able to put it in, right?
Got it.
So that kind of reinforces this understanding again.
Same thing. We got the speed lever. Let's see.
If you don't have a pivot point, it doesn't work.
Right.
So if I have a speed lever with no pivot point,
Right.
I can,
Nothing there.
there's nothing there, right?
Right.
So if like I have only one point here, right here, right, and I go ahead, it doesn't happen, right? So you need 2 points. One point that it's pivoting on, and the other point that actually holds a second pivot point. 2 points, right? And strengths, if you notice, just like with a lever, are going in opposite ways. Either this one can be stationary, and it does what it has to do. In other words, right around the arm, right around the leg, right around the hips, for instance. But it's still that same stationary pivot point, right?
Right.
Or that pivot point could be in opposite directions, just like with the equal lever, right? The teeter-totter.
Mhm.
You can have one strength going this way, other strength going this way, right?
Right.
That makes sense
Yeah.
again? So if there's a pivot point, I have one strength pushing this way, the other one moving it this way. So
Shoulder to shoulder.
exactly. So if I have right here, right? Go ahead. Put your hand in. Put your other hand in. See, like this. If this one's going up and this one is going down, then at some point you fall down as you're losing your balance. But you're not just taking it in such a way that it just makes you go around in a big circle. Because if I have it like this, and you take one down and the other one up, right? And then I'm just got to be going in the circle.
Right.
You need to give it the downward screw effect. Spiral, downward spiral.
So they sit on the butt.
Yep. Well, I'm overtaking the lesson.
No,
Now,
no.
tell me something.
This is how I need to know. I know.
Go ahead, you do it.
Okay. So let me see if I can.
We just went over the levers themselves.
We're gonna
Now you have to show those levers or show where the joints are locking, how they're locking, where the
first gear set. There's I understand first. Or is that
go through that too.
I think I need to know more. Let's try that.
Let's try that.
Is that part of it? Well, no.
Yeah, that is. It's all levers.
All that. Okay.
Because first, second gear, remember I just touched on the tranny?
Right. That's why I mean I was.
Yeah, and I jumped a little bit.
No, I wanted to do that one first. So we'll go through that one, which. So we're going to talk about the different gears. So if you're going to want to know if you're in what gear, meaning first gear through sixth gear, as far as comparable to a car or transmission. So you're going to want to
Or a bicycle.
or a bicycle. So if you're in first gear, you're generally the person that you want to be, which is in balance and in control.
And not using up any energy.
And not using up
You're in
energy.
zero position,
Relaxed.
if you will.
In your zero positioning, it's just like we're doing squats, where you have as vertical of a back formation as you can,
Or all the
Relax.
muscles are relaxed,
all muscles relaxed,
except for the legs.
legs are slightly bent so you're not putting all your weight on one spot. So you just kind of balance whatever feels comfortable, almost like you're sitting in the air. And so when you find that someone might be attacking you, let's say you're grabbing me, and he's in a position that you look at that's compromisable, that would be sixth gear. If you're in a position that's comfortable, you're in first gear.
Where is sixth gear?
On sixth gear on him, it's going to be all the way down to fifth. He's got one huge, no, oh, here. Sixth gear. He's sixth gear. You got 6 gears here. It's your farthest
the
extension.
farthest extension.
Farthest
The
extension.
further it goes, the more sixth gear it is.
More sixth gear. So
The
he's all the
problem
way.
is from here, right? I'm standing in a zero position, right?
Right.
So sixth gear here, one gear where?
One gear is where? Oh, one gear is here.
I'm standing in zero position, right?
Zero. Okay.
So this is the whole transmission just right here.
Got it. Okay.
So sixth gear, one gear, right?
Sixth gear, one gear.
You take a step back. Okay,
Right.
now, sixth gear is where?
Sixth gear is
Still
here.
But now,
First gear is all the way down at his foot.
all the way down there.
Yep.
Because if you push here, and pull there,
Here, here, here. Yes. Many different
you
levels.
can make it from here, now at this point, to here.
Right.
This can be first gear, this is sixth gear.
Right.
But because you're the one doing the pushing, this becomes first when you lock it in. You're at sixth gear. Boom, lock it in right there. Don't have it float.
Okay.
Right? So now, boom. Okay, now that's first gear,
Right.
and this is sixth.
Right.
Whichever one is going to be the opposite for you.
Right. Okay. So
When you're the one using it, it's first gear, the other way,
other way.
or this way, wherever you're going to use the next point.
Once
Right?
I initiate.
Because you're getting a speed lever to work in this case, right?
Right.
This is a speed lever.
Right. Let's start that over. So you're at zero.
I'm at zero.
I'm at zero.
I go
Here, first, your sixth gear is here. Your first gear is still here.
right because everything else is balanced.
Everything else is balanced. Everything else is fine. So you got one lever, control transmission. First 3 6.
Yep.
I take a step back. No. I take a step back,
Okay.
and then I'm holding on here, first gear, sixth gear all the way at the foot. Once I initiate a response, I change first gear to myself up here. And that's throwing them off balance.
Six gears over here, so you're pushing at six.
Six
That would
gear.
be my first gear. This would be my sixth gear. This would be my first gear.
Right.
Because it flips. As soon as I go here, right, this is my sixth gear because of the motion. Right. And now it's because it's in speed lever. Right? Right. Speed lever, this is sixth gear.
Sixth gear there.
Yeah. I have lots of velocity. Right?
So that's sort of, this becomes sixth gear because I see what you're saying.
There's it.
I'm
So
not
as
sure
soon
that's
as I come into contact,
right.
for you, this becomes first gear because this is first gear.
Right. This is where
And this becomes sixth gear all the way out here, or all the way out here. If I have my foot up like this, then that becomes first gear.
this is still my first gear, and this is my sixth.
Yeah.
It touches
But
my
for me, right, as I'm going here all the way out to sixth, right, that's for me. Right. My first gear and most effective would be right down below. The more I'm losing it, the more that's still the first gear for me. Right. That for you, that's still my first gear. Right. But for you, this is my sixth gear. All the way in the end. Or all the way in the end right here. Right. All the way in the end right here.
Right. The farthest extension.
Yeah. The closer you get, the closer, fifth gear, fourth gear, third gear, first gear.
More energy I have to.
Like for instance, if you go ahead and grab me like this, see, now as you grab me, I already took a step back, right? Now I go ahead and I'm going to use a speed lever because this is a first gear.
Right.
See? Okay. So I grabbed your first gear, and my idea is I have to generate a lot of speed onto a short distance in order for this stick to get its maximum velocity. Right? So if you're holding me here, and I've got you only in one spot, right? There's 2 pivot points. One is the shoulder, the other one is my arm, right? I'm making sure that this one does not let loose. Because if it lets loose, what happens? I don't have a pivot. I'm trying to work it, and I have to then artificially create one by working against the muscles in this case, or go the other way, right? But in this case, this is 2 points, one here, one here. So if this is you, this is 1 point here, the other point here, boom, boom, like this. So first we put from So first gear, I put it to sixth gear like this, and then go one hand.
Here because the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Or two hands with one holding and the other holding. Movement comes from your legs, not from your hands trying to rip it. Because you don't have enough power. And this is which gear? Right here. Again. Which gear would this be?
What gear? Oh, this.
My arm. Not the stick, my arm. Which gear?
Oh, you're
I'm trying to move it. Which gear?
Six.
More like four.
Oh, you mean this?
This would
right
be
here.
this would be like sixth gear, right?
Right.
So if I'm moving it closer, which gear? I get fourth gear, third gear, third gear roughly, right?
Right.
Second gear, first gear. Right? So from here, by itself,
Lots of power.
like this, hold it. See, by itself. Right. How about with legs? See, the whole torso. Sorry. The whole torso is going ahead and going by throwing my foot out there like this, throwing it out there. The whole torso is moving it. Rather than just by hand, I can go ahead and this is not even just the hand, this is shoulders and hand. It makes a difference, right? So same way if I go here, right, I can go like this, right? Nothing, right? How about if I go? I just put the whole weight of my body onto one little spot.
Half the, or third of you.
Well, I just basically like a kid going.
Right.
Right?
Without going like out of control, trying to overexert yourself with your arms.
Yeah.
So you save time there.
So here's other ones. Let's say I'm kicking you. Where's my sixth gear?
Right here.
Okay. Where's my first gear?
Okay.
Okay. Now that you got me, let's say get me by sixth gear.
Right.
Okay. Now where's my sixth gear? Oh, no, that's my first. Now where's your sixth gear?
My sixth. What's that? My sixth gear.
That's my first gear. That's my sixth gear.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for you, that's
sixth. My
that's
sixth.
the first gear. This is
That's your, my sixth gear. Right. Okay. Same as the other.
no different. Same thing, right? So whether it's this is why I say it's so much easier when you start looking at it in that on that level. Right? What about if I kick here? Yeah. What about if I kick here? This. This. Okay. Where's your six?
It's the same thing. Yeah. Sixth gear. Same thing. First.
What about if I kick here? Right? On top. On this side. Cool. Like this.
Same thing.
Same thing. No different. Okay. What if you catch me by my knee? No different. No different. Except, for me, this is now my third gear. Right? So I have more power.
You do have more power. I might need to do it too.
You might need to do two things, or you might need to pull back. So you see, if you got me here, now this is in first, right? So third gear from here to here. But as you pull me back,
Now we got to go back to where it's going.
on sixth gear again, right?
Right.
So
Much easier to just start back
exactly.
when you try to do two things.
Now the whole body, in this case. Zero bubble, first gear. Oh, sixth gear, first gear. Okay? And there's this illusion of me holding. Right? Same thing for this way, as you're standing there. Right? This is a first gear, right? Sixth gear. The further off base I push you,
Doesn't matter what these are doing.
you're becoming a skewed lever. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, for me to make it into a strength lever, I have to make an extra pivot twist. Nope, right here.
Okay.
Extra pivot. Well, for one, I have to twist to lock in and make it a solid body, but I need another pivot point, right? And from there, there's the breaking, right? Over the pivot. Then it's a strength lever. If I go ahead and twist your arm here and use a secondary pivot point, right? That is a strength lever. If I go ahead and put weight on it right here, You see where I can use this as a screw thread. Where is there more power? So for me, this is for me, this is so the more I step back, so it's more comfortable to keep up. So right here it's more, right here it's more. But at some point we become like a machine right here. This is my first here now, right? This whole lever, it's no longer yours, although it could be, right? And let's say you go ahead and take a step back. Whoop. Right. Now what happened?
Now you're off balance, and I've got the first gear.
First gear is right here, so I'm pushing no longer at third gear.
Right.
I'm pushing at first gear,
Right.
and this one now becomes a lever in the opposite way.
Step and one step back. Through the hook, the one thing off, just the opposite. And it doesn't matter what the other two limbs are doing.
But all it is a little bit this way, it's mine. A little bit this way, it's yours. Right? So if we're working like this sticks, for instance, and I go ahead and hit you, a little bit straight. Yeah, a little bit straight. Okay. If I want to hit you like this, what do you have to do?
Have to move.
No, you have to.
I'll have to, oh, right,
That's it.
Power,
Right?
right.
So in order for me to hit you again, I have to
Change it to a
see.
straight.
Hold on. No, look how much
Oh.
movement I'm making. Right? So from here, right? From here, I have to move over here, right? Now what do you have to do?
I have to move my hand.
Or stop, relax, relax. So from here, you have to go here, right? So then for me, I have to, let's say, come over here, right? For you, in order so you don't get hit, what do you have to do?
Again.
Okay. So now we're over here, right? So if I'm going to go right back with it, what do you have to do? Move it again. Okay, so now I'm back here, and now I'm, oh, too far. A little bit far. Okay, now you want to attack me. Right? What do you have to do? Just make it straight. I have to change this position. You see what I mean? I didn't do much as it's coming in, like it's going to hit me.
Right.
I just moved around it, basically. And now I'm in an advantageous position. Now what do you have to do? Move again. Oh, now I missed it. Now I'm getting hit by this side, right? Coming down. What do I have to do? Move again. Now from this point, I'm going down. What do you have to do? Okay. Now it's coming down again, right? See, so as you're coming down at me, right, I have to go this way. Right? It's coming. Go back. Keep going. Like you were hitting me originally right here, right? My stomach. Because of this motion, right? Now you're moving this way, and I'm getting back into position again. See? So for me then, as I go straight in, what do? Well, where are we at? Now you're hitting me, right? And I have to go ahead and block and then come in this way, right? In your case, if you go, oh, so I'm over here now, right? Closer. See, first, oh, now I'm over here, right? So in order for me to actually get into you, I have to either go here or I have to shift my object over and it misses. You see how little it takes? A little bit here, a little bit there. You see how free floating? How free floating it
Let's
is?
start that again. I want to see how it's
Okay, go ahead. All right, so you're hitting, right? In order for me to avoid getting hit, hold on, just slowly. Boom. Okay, now I'm in the winning position. Right. For you, pull it back a little bit more. Oh, see? Now you're in a winning position. Now for me, I have to either sidestep. Now I'm in the attacking position. Now it's gone. Now you're attacking me. I have to go this way. You see? Now here, now you're attacking me. Gone. Okay. Now you're attacking me. Gone. Now I'm attacking you. Gone. Attacking you from this side. Gone. See, as the more relaxed you're getting, okay. So this is all working a little bit here. Oh, Nice. Now for me, oh, it's gone again. Now it's coming in this way. It's gone again. Now it's coming in my way. It's gone again. See how this is working? Now it's coming in your way. It's gone again. See how this is just freely floating, right? Yeah, this is working. You're attacking me back, right? But are you seeing though how much?
Yeah,
How
very
little-
little movement.
Very
It's only
little.
kind of keep it on first gear.
Yeah,
And
and
as much
exactly.
as you want to keep it away from you, you don't want to have them get that sixth gear moving quicker or have a chance to get the sixth gear moving quicker.
Yep. So if you're hitting me from the top really quickly,
You're going to get into first gear and I'm way extended.
you're way extended. So for me, if I were to catch it, right, at this point, there it is, it's gone, right? Now, right here, oh, now I lost it, right? Oh, okay, now you lost it. Now as I'm hitting this way, oh, now I lost it. You see how this is working? Now I got it back. As I'm stepping this way, you lost it. Then I'm hitting you again. Now,
You're right back.
right back. So, oh, see, I told you I'm a little quickly if I can get it.
I got a lot of practice.
But, can you visualize it now a little bit better?
A lot better. It's something you have to visualize it. So that helps a lot because you want to keep it as much as you would think that you want to keep that away from you. The last thing you want is to have that ability.
What happens when we both go out here?
Neither one of us have control, and then we start.
No, both of us have control.
Oh, both of us.
But at the same point.
both of us.
So we're equal.
Yeah, we're zero.
So if you
Sometimes
pull
step back
me,
and pull forward.
so if you pull me, oh, now I'm at a loss, and then I have to step here, now you're at a loss.
Right. Right.
So
No,
at this
no.
point, as you go ahead and straighten out, okay, now we're back at square one.
Right.
Now if I bring you in,
Right.
right, I'm in a winning position, you're at a loss, right?
Right. Yeah. It's the same thing with this.
But at this point, as you're going into a losing position, and I'm coming in for a win, right?
Right.
You go ahead and fix it. Oh, now who's in this position?
I mean, you got your first gear, 6 is up here. I would be in the position.
So just a little bit here, a little bit of what?
6 inches. Yeah.
3 inches off, and you're getting ready to fall.
It's amazing. Little things.
Let me turn the lights on.